handout. You can use soap-based products. You can use spinosad-based products. And you can use a few others, essential oils. So I have some products here. I don't know if you can see them.
Because said something about organic for fish too.
Right. So that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So now, this is an organic product, and you can tell because it's got this OMRI listing here, which means Organic Materials Review Institute. Sorry, I was working with Olena, so my fingernail's dirty. Organic Materials Review Institute. So it's organic. Now this, if you look at the active ingredients, this says spinosad. So spinosad is a great product for worms and for beetles and for other insects. And so if you're going to purchase a product, this is a good one to have. This is a concentrate. I bought this from Koala Farmers. Now, can you see the red tag? Okay, so not cheap, right? So ideally, if you were going to buy something like this, you would buy it with a group and then split it up and share it because it's a concentrated product and a little bit can go a long way. The label is important, so you're going to want to read the label for instructions. Now, another product that you can use is BT, okay? Bacillus Thuringiensis. It's a bacteria. It kills caterpillars. So if you're growing kale and things like that, both the spinosad and the BT will kill those caterpillars, okay? This product is ready-to-use product to spray. It's 18 bucks. If you keep it in a cool place, dark place, it'll last a long time, and you can use it for multiple crops, right? Okay. This is a soap-based product that's ready to spray, ready to go. Again, you can see the OMRI label here, which means it's organic. All of these products, the soap, the BT, and the spinosad-based products are both organic and would not hurt your fish, especially if you use small quantities and follow the label. Okay, so those are one option. Now, there are some pretty cool, effective pesticides you can make at home. And so we sent you one recipe, and we're gonna make one right now. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a concentrate that you can use over and over again for multiple applications. Okay? And so I'm using this jar partly because it's got measurements, what they call graduated. It's already got these measurements out. So you got 1 cup here. So we're going to want to put 1 cup of oil. The oil is to smother the soft-bodied insects like aphids and scales and mealybugs. So you see the one line over there, or up to that line. The next is we're going to put a tablespoon of dish soap. So this is important. In this case, the dish soap has not so much insecticidal activity because we're not putting a lot in. The dish soap we're using for an emulsifier. What that means is it's going to allow the oil-based concentrate to mix with the water once you mix it. Okay, does that make sense? At a higher concentration, soap can definitely kill insects. It works by stripping off the wax on the soft-bodied insects. So aphids, mealybugs, they have a waxy coating on their skin surface, and it'll strip it off, and then they'll dry out and die. The other thing that this does is it will break the surface tension of water, and if you just have soap and water, it will allow the water to cover all of the breathing spots on the insects. Breathe through their, what they call exoskeleton, their skin. They have little pupas in their skin called spiracles that they breathe through. And then if you put soap in water, much like the oil, it'll coat and stop them from being able to breathe. Who's got the paper open? I'm going to put 1 tablespoon into the concentrate. Is that correct? Does anybody have the paper open or what? I thought somebody said they did.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
It's correct. Perfect.
Like
Thank you. Thank you, Ikaiko. Okay. Now, we're going to add a couple more things. One is chili pepper. I'm using dry ground chili pepper in this case. partly because it's ground up and the surface area is going to be, you know, it's going to be able to extract the spiciness a little bit easier. But you can definitely, if you've got chili pepper plant at home, you can definitely use fresh chilies. Best thing to do is smash them up. Yeah. You'll use a little bit more fresh chili than dry. For the dry, we're gonna use one teaspoon. So one of the things is tablespoon, teaspoon, you gotta pay attention, huh? Because if you spray this stuff, if you put too much, especially with the oil and the soap, you're going to burn your plants. If you put too little bit, it's not gonna have the effect you want it to have. So pay attention to teaspoon, tablespoon. I'm gonna call that good enough. And the last thing we're gonna add is vinegar. So a lot of people like to use the apple cider vinegar. Any kind of vinegar you have at home will work. You want to use a teaspoon, in this case, per cup of oil. Okay. The vinegar is good. Is used as a fungicide for mildew, like powdery mildew. Okay, now we got it like this, and we just shake it up. And this is your pesticide concentrate. And if you make it ahead of time, that's great. You can let it sit, and it'll the capsaicin or the spicy compounds that is in the hot pepper will have a chance to extract even better inside. And this will keep for a while. I haven't done studies to see how long it'll last, but it should last for a week out for sure. And if you stick it in the fridge, it should last for weeks at a time. But it's always good just you make small quantities at a time, and then you don't have to worry about wasting. Okay, everybody can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our sprayer. And in the recipe book, I have it per cup of water. So let me make a cup of water. So I like to use, so this spray bottle cost me $6. It's graduated, so I can just go up to a cup. You can use anything. You can recycle spray bottles, whatever. Doesn't matter what you use. So I have a cup of water in here. A little bit more. Good enough for government work, I guess. Okay. So if I remember correctly, I put 2 tablespoons of the concentrate into the water. Ikaika? Is that what the label says? The recipe
Yes.
says? Okay.
Put the whole recipe out.
Okay, perfect, Mom. So it's 1, and that's 2. Okay, now we put oil into water, right? So what would you expect? Something like that, right? Separation. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, because the soap's in there, once we agitate it, we're gonna be able to create a, that's just water that was in the spout before.
Sure.
Anyway, yeah, so if you look, because the soap's in there, it'll suspend the oil-based mixture. They call this emulsified. So you can spray it. So it's all mixed up now. All right. Okay, so should we go over and spray the plants? Okay, come follow me. Okay, so here we have a nice garden of kale growing well in aquaponics. Hopefully we'll have some of this for you guys when you guys come get your lunch if you guys are interested. in it. Whenever you make something, especially for the first time, before you spray your whole garden, you want to make sure that you test it on a plant first. So Shay and I were out here last night making the batch, and we sprayed this plant thoroughly. And it came back this morning, and bugger looks good. No brown spots, no problems. This was here before. This is from insect. This is part of the reason we're spraying. But it looked healthy. We saturated the top here. We covered the other leaves over here, and everybody looks all right. Yeah? Okay. So there's a couple of, so that's one trick. Make sure you test them out first. The second trick is, it's a little hot in the day right now to spray stuff, to spray your plant. Usually what you want to do is you want to spray in the cool of the morning or the cool of the evening, afternoon. That's because things like soap can strip off waxes, not only on insects, but also plants. And if it's super hot, the sun can potentially cause some problems. Usually when you buy commercial product, it's no problem. If you already tested your product like this, no problem. So we're going to try, we'll spray now. I'm not really worried about it, okay? The trick with spraying, so in this case, if you look here, you see all these little pukas on the leaves here. Some of these leaves are completely chewed up. This is from caterpillars, the white cabbage butterfly, and we see some floating around here right now as we speak. Might float in front of us in a minute. I can see them down the side, but they lay their eggs and they make caterpillars. Right now, we're doing pretty good. I don't usually spray, but sometimes it's a big issue and you need to take care of it. Some people can just pull out the plant or take off the leaves that have heavy insect pressure. But if you want to preserve the plant and you've got pests, pesticide application is okay. So again, this is the soap, homemade soap stuff that we made. Another trick is you want to adjust your nozzle here so that you make a fine mist, right? Because you can adjust the nozzle to make a stream. Oh, so shit, I hit you. Sorry, sorry, Andy. Okay. Sorry. Only salt and chili pepper. So, so that's the stream, and you can actually use that if you want to get down into the tip of the growing point of the plant. Oh, my bugger not gonna work now. Okay, so if you want to get right there, you got it, right? Okay, so the growing point of the plant is there's a lot of nutrition that's being put there by the plant, and so the insects will often congregate there. Okay. The other place that insects congregate that we want to make sure that we hit good is the underside of the leaves. And so when you do it, usually what we like to do, especially in aquaponics, is make a mist. Okay, you see that mist? Can you catch? Did it catch it?
I got you.
So the two reasons for the mist is, one is to get the good coverage under the leaves. You see how I'm doing it? Okay. And you get the backside too. Okay.
Oh, shoot me.
So that's the mist. The other reason why you want to do mist is that you typically don't get a lot of dripping. And so you're actually getting very little or nothing onto the cinder. And what little bit you got there is going to be hugely diluted by the water. And again, we're using a little bit of soap, a little bit of oil, a little bit of chili pepper, a little bit of vinegar in here. So the actual quantity that's going to hit the, it's non-toxic to the fish, number one. And number two, the quantity is going to be tiny, minute, diluted, and broken down by the microorganisms pretty quickly. So that's the example. We put some of the principles of pesticide application in the handout. We put the recipe in the handout, and we'll be revising the handout to make it a little more complete with some more information. But like I said, usually you will not need to use pesticides. In some cases, you may, and there are a few pesticides that are okay for use in aquaponics. And you just want to pay attention to which ones you're using, and we outline that in the handout. And, you know, homemade is usually best. Okay.